Weird things people found in their new homes. A family found out that the basement of their new house is a graveyard. That would freak me out. I would not live there. At this person's new house, they realized that one of the doors is a jail cell door. Apparently, the house used to be a police department many years ago. And this brilliant invention that somebody found in their new bathroom. Previous owners knew how to live. Worst houses of all time. Why does this one have so many windows? Whoever designed this went a little too far because that's definitely unnecessary. I don't even know what this house is supposed to be. But I bet the owner is definitely a psychopath. This bathtub in the kitchen with chairs around it seems a little sus. This garage that was built to look like a castle. Honestly, this one's pretty sick. This super tiny bedroom. They must have given this room to their least favorite child. It's basically a prison cell. And this kitchen looks like something that would be in a dollhouse. This is too much. People with very unfortunate names. The author of this neurology book's name is Lord Brain. The teachers of this class's names are Mrs. Wiener and Mrs. Butt. I bet those kids were super mean to them. This man that was arrested's name is literally Beezow Doo-Doo Zoobity Bop Bop Bop. I just want to know who your parents are. The name of this contest judge is Willie Stroker. I kind of like that one. And this dude, whose name is Christian Guy. It's just not a good name. Times things were just completely messed up. One person got a tornado warning alert on their phone. And then 2 minutes after that, an alert of shots fired nearby. But then a minute after that, it seemed like Pokemon Go was trying to start some trouble. Look. This catering advertisement is super strange. They cater any event. Wedding, graduation, horse funeral, drug intervention, Tuesdays, horse funeral, a quiet night alone, return of gym, anniversary of horse funeral. I wonder if they cater horse funerals. And this dog drawing contest on Facebook. This was first place and this was second place. I do like the first one better though. The worst dog haircut ever. You'll see the pictures in just a second. A dog owner said that their dog needed a haircut very bad, so she cut his hair. But the way it turned out is actually terrifying. See for yourself. I don't think it's a dog anymore. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. He is currently in 8th grade, and he started his business by selling normal things like Skittles, M&Ms, cotton candy, Kool-Aid, and he was selling them for a couple dollars each, but nobody was buying them. They said that they can go to Walmart and buy it for much cheaper. So this is what he did. He went to a store that sold Chinese snacks, and he bought a bunch of stuff. When he took these to school, everybody wanted them because nobody knew where to get them. And you definitely can't get them at Walmart. Business was booming, and in 1 month he made about $400. No one has snitched yet, and he plans to keep this business going. Black markets kids ran in their schools. When this kid was in high school, he ran a whole server network and put it on a USB drive. And whenever you plugged the USB into a school computer, it auto-deleted all the school blocks. So you can go to any website you want. The USB also auto-downloaded Minecraft and Roblox to the computers. He was making bank. Big bank. Until he was expelled. Another kid at his school wanted to keep this going, so he made about 800 copies of the USBs. But the original kid shut down the server, so he asked him if he could buy the server from him, and he said sure. This guy continued the business going, selling the USBs for $50 each, and he included some software updates. Nice. Weirdest things found in homes. Somebody found this tiny little door in their house that says milk on it. Does anybody know what these were used for? In the basement of somebody's apartment building, they found this mile-long tunnel. But look what's painted on the walls. Oh heck no. At someone's house, the paint on the wall was starting to crack. And they were able to see every single layer of paint since the house was built. That's actually pretty cool. When tearing up the walls at a house, they found this pretty awesome mural painted behind it. And this, somebody found a chain behind the wall of their new home. I can't imagine what that was used for. Black markets kids ran in their schools. Another follower submission. Again, this one isn't really a black market, but listen up. He told me in 9th grade, him and 2 of his friends started to throw parties. They would find someone's house to do it at first, and then they would begin planning. At the start of this, they would charge $10 for a wristband. And if you showed up to the party with the wristband, you would get in. Now, the bracelets they would give out when someone bought them had a symbol you can only see if you held a black light over it. And every party, there was a different symbol. They did this so kids didn't go out and buy their own bracelets so they could get in for free. The party started going crazy. They then upped their prices and started charging $20 for a bracelet, and then $40. And then they hired their friends to DJ the parties. They were making bank. And if the parties ever got too crazy, they would call the cops on their own party. And because it wasn't their own house, they would just leave. Some shady stuff. but he told me they made so much money. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. Every Sunday, this kid goes to Walmart and buys a bunch of melatonin gummies. He then puts those gummies in Ziploc bags, brings them to school, and tells the 6th graders that they're special gummies, if you know what I mean. Edibles. Well, people believed him, and they bought them. He sold 2 gummies for $10, and he's made around $700 so far. He hasn't been caught yet, but he did say he's noticed a lot of people sleeping in class. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When this kid was in 6th grade, he asked his teachers if he could get paid to clean up gum from under desks and chairs. They said sure. So he was getting paid $5 every time he cleaned up gum. Well, the principal found out about this and asked him if he could clean up the gum from under the tables in the lunchroom. He said sure. It was a nice little side hustle, but then he had a brilliant idea. He was gonna start selling gum. So he started buying these packs. This one's only $5 from Target. It's 8 packs with 15 pieces of gum in each pack. That's 120 pieces of gum, and he sold each piece of gum for 50 cents. He was making $60 after selling one whole thing of gum. But here's the kicker. Every time he sold somebody a piece of gum, he asked them when they were done with the gum if they could put it underneath desks or the lunchroom tables. So he would have to clean up the gum more often and make even more money. Most dangerous toys of all time. This is a kite tube. It's a tube you hook to a boat and it's supposed to go airborne. But these things were apparently too intense. If a boat was going too fast, these things would fly high up in the air with people still on them, sometimes flinging people off in any direction or slamming them down to the water. At least 3 people died while using this, and dozens were severely injured. They recalled 19,000 kite tubes in 2006. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When he was in middle school, the school had vending machines, but the stuff inside them was very expensive. So he had an idea. He bought a bunch of random snacks for cheap at a store like Costco, and he sold them at school for less than the vending machines would sell them. Business was booming. After a month of doing this, he made around $260. But then he got another idea. Finals were coming up, and everyone in his grade would take the same final for every class. What he did was he took the snacks he had, separated them, and in tiny writing, he wrote important study guide questions and answers on the back of the snacks near the nutrition label. Now, he did this because the school allowed people to have snacks during tests. Everyone wanted to pass their finals, so once again, his business was booming. The teachers never found out he did this, and by the time finals were over, he made another $500. Craziest things found in food. Okay, this one's not food, but it's a drink. A man named Frank from Ormond Beach, Florida, was sitting outside with his wife one day, drinking a Pepsi. After his first sip, he immediately gagged and spit it out. He realized that there was something very wrong with his drink. When he poured the Pepsi out, he noticed a pink goo coming out, followed by a black goo, and then a giant blob that wouldn't come out of the can. He immediately called the FDA. They grabbed the Pepsi and the weird thing that was in the can, brought it to a lab, and tested it. Turned out that big glob of goo in the can was a frog or a toad. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When he was in middle school, there was a thing called late bus passes. If your bus was late, you'd get this little yellow pass that would allow you to go into class late without an absence. Well, one day, this kid realized that one of his teachers had a stack of late bus passes on her desk, and when she wasn't looking, he took all of them. He would sell them to kids for $1 each, and this pass allowed kids to skip the first class of the day without an absence. In total, he made $500, but things started catching up to him. The teachers were getting suspicious, and one kid snitched to the principal, and everything was shut down. Black markets kids ran in their schools. At one middle school, whenever somebody had a roll of Smarties, they would crush it up and pretend to smoke it. Because when the Smarties are crushed up, the powder blows out and it looks like smoke. Well, this kid had an idea. He went to the store and he bought packs and packs of Smarties. He brought it to school with a wooden hammer in his backpack as well, and he would sell them to students for $1 each. People would give him $1, he would pull out the Smarties, smash it with his hammer, and give it to them. When I say business was booming, I mean business was booming. Until pretty much the whole school was inhaling and exhaling Smartie dust in the hallways. The teachers didn't like it, and they banned Smarties altogether. Overall, this kid made around $300. Black markets kids ran in their schools. At this one kid's high school, there was a kid that would always wear black. He kind of had a gothic type style. He looks like the quiet kid, if you know what I mean. He always carried around a giant duffel bag. Nobody really knew why he carried it around, and people were scared of him. Till one day at lunch, a student saw this kid open his duffel bag. and inside of it, there were 3 12-packs of canned soda, Coke, Sprite, and Voltage Mountain Dew. Turns out, this kid was just selling goods. He would sell that soda every single day, and he would pretty much sell out. And when more people realized that it was only soda in the duffel bag, his business grew even bigger. When he ran out of soda, he restocked and sold more. One kid found out later that the reason that he was doing this was because his family was struggling with homelessness, and this business he ran in school was to help his family buy food. Mad respect. The dumbest things people got in trouble for in school. It was a hot summer's day at this one person's elementary school, and during lunch, every single lunch table had these mini water jugs on them. Well, this kid forgot his water bottle that day, and he was very dehydrated. So during lunch, he drank a ton of water. He drank so much that the lunch ladies had to refill them a couple times. Well, the next day, just before recess, the teacher stopped everyone and said that the lunch ladies complained because somebody drank way too much water the day before, and they didn't appreciate doing that many refills. None of his class was allowed to leave for recess until the teacher knew who the water drinker was. Well, this kid was a shy kid, so he kept silent, but one of his friends ratted him out. He got in trouble and had to stay inside while all of his friends went out to recess, all because he drank some water. That's crazy. Dumbest things people got in trouble for at school. When this kid was in junior high, they had circle-shaped hallways where all the lockers were. Well, the school administration was pretty whack, and they decided that students would only be allowed to walk clockwise around the hallway. Well, this kid's homeroom class was right next to his locker, but the problem was his class was right here and his locker was about 6 feet away counterclockwise. He never thought it was a big deal, so every day after homeroom, he would walk counterclockwise to his locker to get his stuff for his next class. Well, the teachers and school staff caught on, and he was eventually suspended for disrespecting the one-way rule too many times. What?